back, everyone. This is Hyperfixation time. I'm Erin.
And I'm Danny.
We've been best friends since the second day of kindergarten, and this is the podcast where we drag each other and you down the rabbit holes we can't stop thinking about. Each week, one of us brings a topic to the table, and together we dive into the weird, the wild, and the wonderfully random. From interesting animals to macabre mysteries to just curious human behavior, nothing is off limits. And we're learning right along with you. So let's catch up first and then jump into this week's Hyperfixation. Yay!
I think this is episode 7, right?
Yes.
I was just going to say, I think I saw that we got an email to our podcast email saying something like, not 78% of podcasts don't make it past episode 7. So if you want to succeed, keep going or whatever. So it's like,
ooh,
yeah, we're hitting it.
Here we go.
Not
I like
stopping
it.
Anytime soon.
Yeah. even if no one listens to us, we're not stopping. I think
it's fun.
It's all good.
So yeah, what have you been up to, Miss Erin?
Well, we have we've been doing a bathroom remodel.
Oh, right.
And it's like 75% of the way done. Everything is functional now, so we can shower, the toilet works, and the sink works, which is exciting. I had to paint it this past weekend, so that's what I did.
What color did you paint it?
It's just like a white. I might add like a floral wallpaper something or another. I'm not 100% sure yet, but for now it's white. We'll see if I want to see like the mirror. We have to get the mirror up yet, and the lights. We're going to put shelves above the toilet. So I just kind of want to see that, and then we'll see from there. But it's fun. I like it a lot. I like our bathroom. It's a lot more work than we thought it was going to be, but it's nice. So
that's exciting.
That was most of my weekend. But how about you? How have you been?
Good. So for starters, I got this brand new microphone, which you're all hearing me on and seeing if you're watching the video. I'm pretty excited about that. And if my video looks better, it's because I got new lights. So I'm pretty excited about that. You know, we're put in. We're doing the thing.
Exactly.
And then beyond that, I actually did have a really fun weekend, and I didn't text you about it at all, just so that it could be a surprise on the podcast.
Ooh, okay. All right.
I feel like half the time I'm like, oh, well, I already told you this, but this is what I did.
It's going to be like, save it for the pod. I
Yeah,
feel like that's
exactly.
going to be, okay. Okay, I'm excited. I'm
So
excited to hear.
on Friday, it was mine and Dwight's 5th wedding anniversary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Pretty crazy that it's been 5 years already that we've been married. And anyways, we wanted to do something special to celebrate. So we decided to go to the Dells.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if you're, not from Wisconsin, the Dells refers to Wisconsin Dells. It's a whole town. It's the water park capital of the world. I don't know how many water parks there are there, but I mean, it's a lot. As well as just like, a lot of other random, fun, family-friendly things to do. But we just booked a night at the Great Wolf Lodge. Have you ever been there?
Oh, yeah. I have, yep. And I know that my niece and nephew have gone, and they're really
cool.
great with kids, too, aren't they? Or did you have, okay.
Yeah,
did
they had
bring
such
Leon?
good customer service. Yeah, we brought Leon. So that was, a big part of it, obviously. I don't think Dwight and I would go, just us, but...
On your own, okay. I was like, I would go, so...
Yeah, it is fun, but it was just, extra fun because of Leon. And
because you can bring him, for sure.
Yeah, and he's never really... Well, I guess we did go to, a water park before, but didn't spend a ton of time there, and he was too little to really go on, slides. So this was kind of his first experience going on water slides. He was tall enough to go on every single one except for, the most extreme one. And he was brave, and he went on all of them, and it was so much fun. And he also really just kind of, enjoyed just swimming in the basic pool for a long time. But yeah, we had a really good time. We're big fans of the Great Wolf Lodge now. I've never been. Dwight had never been. But I'm a sucker for a really good theme. The whole, hotel is really woodsy cabin, outdoorsy themed. And then our hotel room was really cute as well. It had a kids area. So we basically booked this special kids room where there's a cabin, and then inside the cabin is bunk beds.
Oh,
in the
cute.
room.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
And then they had a bunch of foresty characters painted on the walls, and it was just adorable. And he was so excited, and of course he slept on the top bunk. And
did he? Okay.
yeah, it was just a really good time. And then on the Friday that we were there, we went to go get dinner, and then it just turned out that they were doing like a whole Halloween party essentially, and so they had like a trick-or-treat trail. And so I just coincidentally packed like this trick-or-treat t-shirt for Leon, so I put that on him. Plus they give you like wolf ears, so we just said that was his costume. And then he got to go like trick-or-treating, and they had like all these stops that were really well decorated, like a witch's lair or just stuff like that. It was so cute. And then
your mom intuition kicked in to bring the shirt. That's crazy.
I know, right?
That's awesome though. So was the restaurant then, it was at the hotel, you're saying? You didn't like venture out for...
Oh, no, we did. We went and ate at Moose Jaw.
Moose
but
Jaw,
I was just saying, like, when we went to go do dinner, we realized that this event was going on.
That's fun. Okay. Oh.
And yeah, we spent a ton of time at the water park, both Friday and Saturday, and then came home Saturday, so.
Yeah. Was he pretty zonked afterwards, or?
Yeah, I would say he was pretty tired from all that swimming, and yeah, we all were.
I believe it. Yeah, that's fun. Oh, I'm glad you guys did that. Was it like a last minute thing, or
it was
like
super last minute?
Okay.
I think Dwight and I booked it on Wednesday night. We stayed up really late trying to just scroll and find, what we wanted to do, and stumbled upon a deal for there, and we were like, yeah, let's do it. That sounds cool. So.
Sometimes that's like the best when it's just like you don't have it like planned. It's just like a quick, let's just spur of the moment. Let's just do this. So, fun. I'm glad that you guys did that. And 5 years. Wow. That's And because you've been together 10 or 11 total?
10 years together, 5 years married. So
yeah. Okay. Oh, congrats.
I know, it's pretty crazy. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you do anything on Sunday then, or was it just kind of low key?
What happened on Sunday? I don't know. I've been editing like a mad woman, basically. Okay. I'm a little behind, and I have 9 galleries to edit now. So I'm literally every spare moment that I have, I'm editing pictures right now.
Okay. Yep. Because I remember in a previous episode you said you don't try to get above 3 at a time, right? Yep.
There's just no avoiding it right now. It's just chaos.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. No, I'm just kidding. Oh gosh, because you're doing the wedding pictures right now too, aren't you? Like the one that you guys
the wedding right now, and I'm almost done with it. So
nice. Ooh. Okay. Well, awesome. Do you have any current hyperfixations of the week that you want to talk about?
I was sitting here thinking about like what's a new hyperfixation I can talk about, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just revisit ones I've already talked about because I'm still hyperfixating on them.
All right.
And so it's like, that's how you know it's a true hyperfixation.
That's very true.
So like last week I talked about Amanda Knox, and I listened to that interview with Armchair Expert that you talked about, and I was just fascinated the whole time. Somehow I could still, get more information, and I would still find it interesting. I'm probably going to read her book next because I'm just so interested in this whole case.
So what part makes you like what part is just something that you're hyperfixating on? Like, is it the fact it was wrongful? Is it the fact, or I guess, I'm just curious to know.
I think we've kind of talked about before, like our interest in true crime, right? And I've mentioned that as a mom, like once I had Leon, it was kind of harder to listen to true crime. Like I just kind of felt like it made me, I don't know, it was just a little bit harder, or made me more sad, or just didn't want to listen to it. It was too dark.
You had to take a break, for sure. Yeah.
So now, like instead of, listening to, this Amanda Knox thing is like true crime because there is a murder that happens to her roommate, but most of the story, like most of the details that you're getting is more so revolving around her and just like what she went through. And so it just kind of like scratches that itch, I guess, in my brain, that I just find it so interesting that like this happened. And I find it really sad. Like I mentioned last week, I was like literally sobbing during the last episode of the show that came out. And so I guess it's just like, I just find it so crazy. Like this happened within our lifetime, that somebody was so wrongfully convicted of a crime. And I guess it's kind of like, I could see myself in her, So I think that that's part of it too. It's like, this happened to her. This easily could have happened to me. Like,
could happen to anyone. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay. And yeah, I was just curious, what part of it that makes sense. So are you getting like more into into true crime, or is this kind of like your first segue for now?
Yeah, I would just say like every once in a while, I still listen or find something like this interesting. I do enjoy, stories about like white collar crime, like scams and stuff. So if anybody knows any like good scam podcasts or shows, let me know.
Yeah.
But besides Amanda Knox, I also am still hyperfixating on Animal Crossing.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, still playing.
Is Leon too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just before we started recording, he caught like this big fish in the game, and he was like, "Mom, look at my fish that I just caught." So.
Oh, so is he? So he kind of can take it off and play on his own then at this point, or do you just kind of over the shoulder or something like that?
Oh yeah, no, he can play it all by himself.
Yeah,
totally.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious because I was like, dang, 4 years old. I guess that makes sense, but I don't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah, we kind of started him on the game in a little early. He's got skills. I'm not gonna lie.
That's nothing wrong with that, honestly. I mean, and that's a fun one. So as long as he's having fun, I like it. Exciting.
I keep looking down at this like Neato ball that I'm squishing.
Oh.
Have you ever gotten any of these little like fidget toy things?
No, but that looks like I want it.
I know, and it just like goes back into a cube.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Danny has like a little cube shaped blue. Is it like a stress ball kind of? But
well, yeah, I guess kind of
similar concept, I guess.
Neato. It's a pretty big brand right now.
Oh, I've never heard it. Okay.
But yeah, this one is like my favorite, and so I keep looking down at it, so maybe need to stop.
No, it's okay.
Playing with it.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice, so I mean, I think you're good.
It helps me because otherwise I feel like I'm like this the whole episode.
Yep. Or we were just talking about like if we crack our fingers, can you hear it? Because we both are finger crackers and that sounds weird. Anyway.
Finger crackers.
Finger crackers. But I get it. Yeah, it's nice to have a little something like that to hang on to. So
all right, well, I feel like I've just been talking for it looks like we've been recording for 13 minutes. So Erin, what are you hyperfixated on this week?
Okay, so this also has been a hyperfixation for a couple weeks now, but I haven't talked about it yet. I've been watching the show Sex and the City, like the original.
Okay.
I've never watched it before. Like I think I've probably in passing seen maybe 5 minutes of it. Like I got the concept a little bit, I knew that. I knew that there's a spinoff and whatever. But I was like, you know what? I just need kind of like an easy watch. And so my friend had talked about Sex and the City, and I gave it a try, and I'm like obsessed with it. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Even though it was done in like the early 2000s, it's still kind of like
it's fun to go back.
It is.
Because then you don't have to think about like today's problems. You're just kind of going back in time, if you will.
Maybe that's why
I watched Desperate Housewives a little while back, and it was the same feeling. Like I was like, all we have to worry about is what the neighbors are up to. That's it.
Simpler times, but. Yeah, no, so I've been watching that a lot. And they're like 20, 25-minute, maybe 30-minute episodes, so it's also just like a quick watch, too. Have you ever seen it, or have you ever watched it?
Yeah, I watched it all like my freshman year of college. Or maybe sophomore year, actually. One of my roommates had all the DVDs, I believe.
Sure, okay.
So that's how I watched it, but... Yeah,
fun.
I enjoyed it. It was never like my favorite show in the world, but yeah, it is kind of just like an easy watch, and I don't know.
It's just nice to have like a sitcom like that, like New Girl is one of my favorites of all time, and I've watched that through so many times. So it was just like nice to have a new to me, I guess, one. So,
which character do you relate to? That's always the question, isn't it?
Yep. So I did take a quiz.
Oh, of course.
And I am mostly Carrie.
Oh, okay.
But I have a bit more... I think I was Charlotte next, and then why am I blanking on the name? I just keep watching it. What is the redhead?
Miranda, right?
Miranda, thank you. Oh my gosh, that was bugging me. And then Samantha. So like that's the order essentially. But have you ever taken one of those?
I probably did at some point, but I don't remember what answer I got or anything like that. And I
that's fair.
feel like I strongly relate to any of them.
Agreed. Yep.
There are pretty extreme personalities, I would say.
Yes.
So I feel like, agree. You put a little bit of each of them in me, then you got me.
That's why I was like, yeah, I'm like mostly Carrie, but like there's a lot that I don't relate to her. I don't know. It's a mix. It's a variety. It's like the spectrum of, MBTI that we talked about too.
Which Sex and the City character are you? A little bit of all of them.
Yep, a little bit of them all. So, but yeah, it's been fun. I don't know. Just like an easy watch, like I mentioned. So that's my hyperfixation of the week.
Cool. Do you have anything else you wanted to mention before?
No. Do you have anything else?
I actually did. You had messaged me that one paragraph about us like not being experts. Yes. Do you want to like read that, or do you want me to read it, or?
I'll read what I wrote in my note, and obviously if you have anything to add to it, let me know. So last episode, Danny and I think we both kind of spiraled. I think like the combination of the episodes being out, like the first 4 being out, and then also just like we are overthinkers and all of that made me just kind of like word vomit this out, and I sent it to Danny. So I just wanted to say that if it's not obvious, we are not experts in literally anything we talk about during these episodes. We do some research, obviously, but we probably get things wrong. We probably will continue to get things wrong. They're mainly just for fun. They help us stimulate our brains a bit. They're authentic, so you get that. We honestly don't know what, the other person doesn't know what topic it is going into it at all. So there's no like pre-planned anything. It's honestly just an excuse sometimes for us to hang out a little bit more, which is maybe a little selfish, but I'm finding that this is a really great creative outlet for my brain as well. Learning new skills. Not that I want to be back in college, but just like having that research kind of.
Yeah, it's actually super interesting. Like I have been learning so much just from both of us. Like I obviously have to do my own research, but then I learn so much from what you're telling me. And it's just, I don't know, it's really cool to, like you said, go. And obviously all the topics that we're learning about are things that are interesting to us. And like your interests are so in line with my interests. So it's not like I'm, finding your topics boring or something like that. Like I'm genuinely interested in both sides. So it's pretty cool.
Agreed. Yeah, I think the same. I find like I'm learning a ton, which is good, both ways. I also just think like what these episodes are not. These are not perfect. We're all still learning things. We're learning speech. We're learning, sources. I don't know, editing, all of that fun stuff. So it's not going to be perfect, nor do I want it to be. Like. No. I don't know. Again, authentic, I think, is like what we talked about before we started this. There's going to be mistakes, like I said, so we may have some things wrong, and that's just part of it.
And let us know. Like, if we got a fact wrong, just let us know in the comments. Just be nice about it, Because we're sensitive people. Okay, please be nice.
I'm not afraid of being told that I'm wrong, but it depends on how you deliver it. And obviously, we're not professionals in any sort of way. And this podcast will not resonate with everyone, and that's okay too. Nor should it, nor are we trying to. Nor should it resonate with everyone, and we are definitely not trying to resonate with everyone. But I just think in general, it's just been a fun thing for us. And again, if this goes nowhere, at least we have this to listen back on. I just find it fun. So I hope people can take it with a grain of salt, and we'll just keep going from there. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, we're not journalists. That's my main thing that I was texting Erin is like, I feel like I listen to other podcasts and, they obviously even went to school for journalism, and sometimes I just feel like I'm pretending to be a journalist when I'm researching for these topics, and like Erin said, it's just not going to be perfect. I'm going to get things wrong. I try my best to find credible sources when I'm researching, but it's more just about the discussion. Like, hey, I found this interesting. Let's talk about it. That's it. I'm not trying to write an article for the New York Times or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or like I was telling PJ, I'm like, we're not like PhD students defending our thesis where it's like, I just think that it's been fun, and I just want to acknowledge that we understand that not everything will be 100% correct, but
indeed,
we're going to keep going no matter what, so.
without further ado, Erin, would you like to hear what our main topic for this episode is?
Yes, I am
Okay.
excited. We're still
Well,
doing spooky.
yeah, a few more weeks of spooky. So,
Yep.
with that being said, any guesses at all?
Did you have a clue last time? I think it was
I just said it was going to be spooky.
okay, yeah. I'm gonna take a random guess and say it's about Loch Ness Monster.
No,
Okay.
not the
All
Loch Ness
right.
Monster. Fun
All right.
fact, I did actually go to Loch Ness Lake and,
In
um,
Scotland.
yeah, I did not see the
Nice.
Loch Ness Monster while I was there,
You didn't
but
you didn't see Nessie?
no.
Probably napping or something. Okay, so tell me what it is.
Today's topic is Ouija boards.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. I'm so ready for this.
Okay, so to get us started, I need to know, like, have you ever used one and what's your opinion of them? Do you believe
Yes.
in them? Are you scared of them? All that.
Okay. I have used one before. Our friend had one.
Hmm.
I remember, and we
Hey,
would use
friends,
that.
let us know if you care if we use your names.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good
like we
point.
keep bringing up our friends, and it's just like, our friend.
Yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know.
a mutual friend
Mutual
that
friend.
we hung out with a lot. She had one that we would use sometimes. And at first, I was like really freaked out by it, to be honest. Again, I'm pretty like, I just believe in a lot of
Hmm.
this stuff. I don't know. I'm torn because there
Okay.
were times that I was like, I know I'm not moving it.
Right.
And like, I trust these people around me. So like, how is this happening? And I do think there are, back to our conversation from last time, but like energies may have some options to communicate in some way. And maybe this is it. I don't know. But it's also a board game, essentially,
Yeah.
too. So I'm a little on the fence about it in general, of course, like logically
Hmm.
versus like, it would be kind of cool if it is real.
Hmm. Well,
But what about you?
um, so it's interesting you said all that, by the way, because I'm going to kind of, get to all of those things that you mentioned, like how it works and whatever.
Teach
But
me.
um, I'm so when you used it, did you just do it one time?
No, it was a couple times, I
Did anything like
think.
ever spooky happen or
I mean, for the most part, we were using it to be like, who likes me
sure?
in my class, or like, am I gonna get married or something like that.
Hmm.
I think that we definitely had like things that felt real, I would
Hmm.
say. I don't remember the specifics of it, but I remember like doing it outside and
Mm.
it just being like a creepy vibe overall and on a piece of land that I feel like probably has a lot of history too for our one friend because a
Okay.
farm
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like a farm always has like
Just more
some
history.
history to
Okay.
it. Yeah. Maybe not, but it's like brand new. No. But yeah, so at the time it felt real. Do I
Hmm.
believe it now? I don't know. I'm just truly I want to believe it,
Okay.
but
Interesting. Okay, so my personal history with Ouija boards, the first time I remember using one was in like, I don't know, fourth or fifth grade. One of
oh,
our, again, mutual friends, but not this mutual friend, moved away. Okay, and she like made one. Like I just came to her house one time and then she's like, I'm gonna make this thing. And then she just whipped out a piece of paper, like drew the letters on it and
can you
made a
do
little
that?
planchette. I don't, well, I mean, yeah, sure, why not?
I mean, she
Um,
did it, but I
I
mean,
don't really
like,
remember like playing it specifically that
yeah.
time, but I just remember her like working on making this Ouija board.
Okay.
Then later on, when we were in high school, a different friend of ours had
Hmm.
one, and we were in her like bathroom, and we did it on the floor. I don't know if we had the lights off or what, or well, we had to have some lights so we could see. But I
Bloody
remember,
Mary style.
yeah, the question that I asked it was, "Who am I gonna marry?" Just like you said,
Yes.
and it spelled out Tim.
Oh,
And I held this memory in my brain for the rest of my life until I got married because I mean
okay.
it's still in my brain. But I just thought like, oh, if I ever meet a Tim, that's how I'm gonna know this shit is real, you know? And I just never
Dang.
really met a Tim. Like I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I've met a couple Tims, but not anyone that was like my same age or that would be a romantic partner. So
Yeah.
that
Did
didn't
Dwight change
happen.
his name? You were like, there's one condition to this marriage. You have to change your name to Tim because my Ouija board told me.
Oh my God. That would be insane.
He doesn't look like a Tim either, so it doesn't fit. But.
And then my last like funny story, that this actually is kind of like a crazy coincidence. So freshman year of college, we were all home for winter break, and the friend that you were talking about brought her board over to my parents' house. And so there was like 4 of us there, and we asked the Ouija board, like, who are we talking to right now? And it spelled out the name Gas, so Gas. Yes, we laughed about it. We were like, that is so silly. Whatever it's talking about. Okay, a few weeks later, we started up the new semester in college. So I'd gone back to school, and I was taking evolution and extinction class, and we had a textbook, and I opened up the textbook to like start reading it. The very first sentence in this textbook said, his nickname was Gas. Apparently, Charles Darwin's nickname was Gas.
Really?
So apparently Charles Darwin was haunting my parents' house. So I don't know.
That's kind of cool.
Don't know what he was doing there, but
I would accept him as a ghost in my home.
Yeah,
I would.
I'd be like, hey, I have some questions. You're
exactly. Yeah. Okay, interesting. I've never heard that. I did a lot of, in school, I also was in like the evolution side of things.
As soon as I read that, I obviously texted all the friends that were there because I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. So anyways, just kind of getting into Ouija boards, what I'm going to talk about today is like what a Ouija board is, the history of them, and then like the public view of them, and then finally how they work. So first of all, for anyone listening that doesn't know what a Ouija board is, it's basically like a game board, and it has, the whole alphabet, it has all the numbers, and then on one side it says yes, on one side it says no, on one side it says hello, on one side it says goodbye. And then it also comes with a little planchette, which is like usually in kind of like a teardrop shape, like with a little clear circle on it so that you can see whatever letter or number it's hovering over. And do you remember there being like rules that you had to follow when you played with a Ouija board?
I think we had to like just say something at the beginning and at the end, like opening and closing almost is what I remember, but I don't remember the specifics of like what we said or that.
Yeah. So there's like, a bunch of rules that people will say you have to follow to use a Ouija board safely. And that is like one of the most common ones is like, especially saying goodbye to end a session. Like they say if you don't say goodbye to end the session, you're basically leaving like a portal door open to demons or other nefarious ghosts getting through.
Yep.
But there's like a lot of rules that they say to follow, and it was hard to find like which is actually, the legit rules, because they're kind of, they go all over the place. But some common ones was like to do it in a quiet place where you're not going to have any interruptions. They say like don't do it at a graveyard because basically there's too many spirits in a graveyard and that'll get very chaotic. They say that you should light black candles to repel negative energy, but you can also light white ones to do the same thing. You do need at least 2 people to play it. And another thing is you can set a positive intention. So I think this would be kind of like opening it, like you were saying. So something like that might be saying, we welcome friendly, positive spirits to talk to us. And that'll make sure that, there's no negative energies.
So that's one thing that if I ever did it, like used a Ouija board again, I would for sure do. And in some of the spooky podcasts that I listen to, they always say, like, you never start without saying that. And I was going to bring that up on one of our recent episodes, because a lot of times, you were saying how you were, you wouldn't want to see a ghost and everything like that. And I was going to be like, well, if you do, you just say, hey, you're not welcome here, or something like that, is what they say is really what helps. So it's kind of along the same line. So
have you ever done that?
Like in terms of telling a ghost that they're not welcome?
Yeah.
Okay. I was
have
just trying to like
out loud, just like go away or something like that.
No, because I've never I don't know. No, I don't think I have. Have you?
Yes, which I feel like goes against everything I said. But I just like sometimes I do get spooked, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like home alone and it's dark and I don't know. Ever since my dog passed, I've actually been like more spooked to be alone at night again. And anyways, and then my son has had some weird things where he'll be like, a ghost touched my back. And I'm like, that's cool. Not cool, but you know.
Like to his face, you're like, hey, or you're like, oh,
just, like,
no
try to get
worries. And then,
details.
yeah. And then you're like, you're not welcome here. Like when he's not listening.
Yeah, well, anyways, so then like sometimes I'll just get creeped out and then I'm just like,
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt,
I just
right?
say it
You
out
can just be
loud.
like, yeah.
Which this
just-
actually feels like a crazy thing for me to admit on the podcast, but we're going to be vulnerable.
I don't think so at all. I'm like a sage like I will sage
okay.
every once in a while. So like just to kind of get rid of some of the energies. But they say that kids
I know.
see and have a connection. So I want to hear more about that at some point, whether it's this episode
Oh,
or
yeah. I mean,
off.
there hasn't been like too many experiences like that, but like that was something that happened when we first moved into our current place, he said.
Okay.
Like very early on, he said, yeah, like when I was sleeping, there was a ghost and he touched my back, you know? And
Okay.
so then he's been pretty terrified ever since. And then he also has said that he's seen like a door open and close by itself.
Oh God.
Yeah, when he tells me these things, I'm just like, okay, great. Great to hear it, buddy.
Only tell your dad. Don't tell your mom about it.
Yeah. It's funny because
No,
I used to do this to my mom too when we were.
Really?
Yeah, I would freak her out because I was petrified of ghosts growing up. This was actually a problem for me. I was very afraid of ghosts growing up. I thought like they were going to be in my house and everything. And so I would just, you know, anything slightly spooky happening, I would tell her. And then I remember her being like, you're freaking me out.
Oh God. But was it true stuff that you remember, or was it like you were
Well,
purposely trying to?
Specifically, what happened one time was like we were in her bed and then I was looking up at the ceiling fan and I could see like a reflection in the ceiling fan because it was made out of like a metal material. And I could just kind of see like a long white shape. But I couldn't, like when you see something like a silhouette, but you can't quite figure out what it is. So your mind just kind of starts thinking that, you know, it's a person standing there or just something creepy. So that's kind of what was happening. And I couldn't figure out what it was in the reflection. So I kept telling her, like, I'm seeing this thing in the reflection and it's freaking me out. And she couldn't figure out what I was talking about either. So then after a while, she was kind of like, you're freaking me out now, you know?
Have I ever told you that I definitely felt like your house was haunted? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we've talked about that. Like, and I said in a previous episode too that we would kind of go ghost hunting at my house. And something like growing up, I was always very spooked there. I actually did. I have had a few weird things happen there. I'm getting so sidetracked.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Because I feel like I could be telling all those stories too. But my parents always said growing up, like, well, we built this house, so it's not like somebody died here. You know, it's not. There's no history in this house. Like, we are the first people to live in it. So like, that's not possible. And that was.
But the land.
Yes, but the land. I would just like imagine it was placed on top of an old Indian reservation or something like that all the time. I don't know. And if you're really getting into like, you know, the ghost world, it's like they can follow a person as well.
Oh,
or like
true,
a thing.
yeah.
You know, like if we had some antiques in the house, so like it could have been attached to one of the antiques. Which one of the things that I was afraid of was that we were haunted by my grandpa that passed away when I was like 5 because we had a lot of his old things, and I actually had a weird experience with that. But I'm trying to leave some stories for later podcast episodes.
Okay, that works. Ooh, okay. So is that why, do you think, like, you know, based on our conversations from the previous episode, like, is it, I mean, you said it's more just because you're also still get spooked out and creeped out by those things too. So has that, and that's like helped you in your adult life, hasn't it? Isn't that what you were saying?
Like
believe.
To be logical about it helps me not be scared of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say like I need to hold on to that because otherwise,
no, that's fair.
Like I said, I will if I find out that the ghost world is real. My life's ruined. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Nope. That's okay. I totally get it. Okay. I just was curious.
So getting back to like the rules of following a Ouija board or playing a Ouija board, you should like ask a spirit to introduce itself, which is, you know, what we were doing when we found out that Charles Darwin was haunting my house. You should never ask it to like give a physical sign that it's there, because basically then you're just inviting like possible negative energy.
Okay.
I don't know. And then you should also always be polite to them, remembering that like they are people too, so you're not going to be rude to like a random person. So also just be polite to them. And then
don't piss them off.
yeah, that's just, inviting negative things to happen. So I was very curious in like how the Ouija board became a thing. So this is where I'm going to talk about like basically the history of it. So originally, Ouija boards were like not seen as like a nefarious, negative thing, that people associate with like occults and just spooky things in general. They were seen as like just a way to speak with the dead, and it was just very like normal.
So maybe kind of like the spiritualism, like I was talking about, like where that wave of like we are welcoming it, or welcoming it in the sense of like we want to talk with that plane or whatever you want to call it when people pass on that or don't know, I guess. But
yes, and so very interestingly, this episode is going to tie into a lot of what you talked about last week. But I'm curious, do you know what automatic writing is? Like if I say that?
No, but it was in my list of notes from last week, and I just was like, I didn't have time to look 100% into it, right. But yeah, so tell me a little bit more about that.
So basically the idea of automatic writing is like where you're channeling a spirit to write for you. So the earliest like recorded history that we have of automatic writing is in China in the Song Dynasty. They had something called Fuji, which basically means planchette writing. And this is kind of hard to explain, but maybe we can look up a picture. But basically, they would have like this big tray, and like two people would kind of interact with the tray because it's very big. And then it would be attached to a writing instrument. And then spirits would like take over the device to write messages. And the tray would be like above maybe like sand or like incense burnings. And that's how they would write messages and speak to the dead, basically.
Wait, okay, so just to make sure I'm understanding. So the two people would be holding the tray, and they would just be magically writing in there? Or would they be the ones, like, being, like, channeled to relay the message by writing? Or both?
Yeah, so the tray was, like, attached to, like, a writing instrument. So there would be, like, maybe, like, a stick or, like, this is where I'm like, remember, I am not an expert.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Please look into this if you're interested. But I think there was like some sort of stick or something attached to the tray. And then the two people that are holding the tray would, they're basically channeling the spirits through them to move the tray. And then that movement causes the writing.
I see. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, okay. Yep, got it. I can picture it.
So, like, that's, like, the, earliest history that we have of this. There isn't, like, much else between then and the late 1800s. So this is where it's, like, definitely a throwback to your episode, and I thought that was so interesting. The Ouija board definitely finds its, like, origins in that exact spiritualist movement. And so, like Erin said, the spiritualist movement is basically, like, this idea that the afterlife can be contacted, and that was like seen as very normal at the time. And it wasn't even seen as like a creepy thing. It wasn't like, I feel like people now, if somebody, said that they're talking to the dead, like they could get, like people would just look really down on them or think that they're weird or creepy or like a witch even, or not a witch, but like just think that they're crazy or I don't know.
Yeah, I think it brought more comfort than it was like, oh, I'm talking with a ghost. It was more just like a positive feeling about it. And I feel like most people at that time were sort of on the same page about it.
So it was normal during this time to contact the dead, hold seances, and have table turning parties. So table turning parties was kind of like the rappings that Erin was mentioning last week, which, again, rapping is not... spitting lyrics. It's it's like rhymes? A knocking sound. Yeah, spitting rhymes. Thank you. Cut out my word.
I felt so weird saying it.
I know. So then in 1853, so this is like a little bit earlier than what you were talking about last week, but there was a man named Allan Kardec, and he witnessed, so he went to a seance in France. And he basically witnessed somebody else attaching a pencil to a small upturned basket. And this was basically a way to do automatic writing by people like putting their hands on this basket, right? And then moving it around. They were channeling the spirits and moving around, and then the pencil would write on paper whatever the spirit was trying to say. And the person, this is an unidentified person, but Alan Kardec is the one that like saw this and reported it later. But anyways, it was basically seen as like a faster way to speak with the dead than rapping or table tipping or turning, because sometimes that could get very tedious, trying to uncode a message that way.
I see. Yeah, he's like, this is more efficient. Okay.
Exactly. And so then this device quickly evolved into being called the planchette, which is French for little plank.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so originally it had like a hole in it that you would put a pencil or a pen in to be moved around. And originally it came in like all sorts of shapes and sizes. But in America, the most common shape would be that of a shield or a heart.
Okay.
At the time.
So does today, well, maybe you'll get into this and maybe I'm completely off track. But does the current planchette, I know that it's like the window in the middle on Ouija boards to like see where it's going, but maybe in the past before the board, was that the idea was like to have a pencil in there or something like that in the middle?
Exactly. Yeah, so there would be like a hole for the pencil instead.
Yep. Okay.
And then in 1886, so this is very close to like when everything was going on in Whitewater, like you were talking about. So in 1886, talking boards became very popular in Ohio. And so a talking board is, I would say it's pretty close to like, you know, what we picture as a Ouija board. And there was another seance that was held, and people that were there were Elijah Bond, Charles Kennard, and Helen Peters. And Helen Peters was a medium. Okay. The other two were like investors in the original Ouija board.
Okay.
So they invented what we now know as the Ouija board. And Peters, so Helen Peters, the medium, asked the board what it should be named. So she just asked the board itself. And it spelled back Ouija. And they were like, what does that mean? So they asked the board itself, like, what does that mean? And it just said, good luck.
That's it? Okay.
Good luck. So now this origin story does have some controversy because pretty much immediately Charles Kennard noticed that Helen Peters had a locket around her neck, and that in like the locket had a picture of a woman, and above her head it said Ouija.
I was going to say, does it have any like actual meaning before this? Like, is that a word that comes, I don't know, from...
Yeah. So, yeah, basically I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So he asked Helen, like, were you thinking about that when you moved the planchette around? And she just said no. And the name still stuck, and that just, it is what it is today. But there's a possible link to who this Ouija person could be.
Oh.
And so it was possibly a picture of Maria Louise Ramey. And I guess she was a very famous author at the time, and her pen name was Ouida. So it's spelled Ouida. And so they think that like maybe Kennard just saw the name wrong.
Sure.
And so it kind of just got lost in translation. But apparently she was like a best-selling author from England. And at the time she was like really scorned by male writers, but beloved by a lot of female readers, especially like highly educated female readers. And
I like her.
Yeah. A picture of her became sort of like a talisman that was pretty popular for people to wear around their necks, especially, you know, for highly educated, well-spoken people like apparently Helen Peters was. So that is kind of who people think the locket was of. Interesting.
Okay. And I always was like, I never knew that that's how you pronounce, like, when you see the word Ouija, like, in my head, I'm like, that does not look like it spells out Ouija. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's I don't even kind know of like, if it was necessarily pronounced that way always.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
They patented the board in 1890, And there's like this little story that I saw around the internet, but it's kind of hard to know if this is true or not. But the story says that in order to patent it, the patent officer said that the Ouija board had to spell out his name. Like these people that brought it to him didn't know this patent officer's name, and the Ouija board had to spell out his name, and then it did.
Oh, and as proof, proof that it works. Okay.
Exactly. And so apparently it worked, and so he said okay and gave them the green light, and they patented the Ouija board.
All right.
And then just 1 year later, it had its first advertisements. It was sold by Charles Kennard of Kennard Novelty Company. And it basically blew up. Like I said, this was during the spiritualist movement, so having a way to communicate with the dead was pretty popular at the time. And it was selling really well. They had to expand on their factories. Then just another year later, in 1892, William Fuld took over the business. And he just totally decided to rewrite the history of the Ouija board. He said he invented it and that he named it, and that Ouija is basically a combination of like a French way of saying yes and the German way of saying yes, because it's actually Ouija.
Yeah. Ouija. Oh, okay.
Anyways.
So he just like took credit for it, essentially.
Yes.
Okay. The audacity. No.
So, at the time, like I said, it wasn't seen as nefarious. It was like just a cool way to speak with the dead. It was seen as a fun toy for kids. Some spiritual mediums didn't like it because it like cut out their job. Because then if you could just have a board at home to talk with the dead, why would you need a medium there?
Okay.
And it's also been very linked to selling a lot more boards during dark and uncertain times. So after World War II or the Great Depression, there was a lot more copies sold.
There's like a spike. Like
yes.
They can track like a spike in sales based on the time. Okay.
And it's, because it's like people are grieving, and so they want to speak with their dead loved ones, and this is a way for them to do it that's accessible. And it hit peak sales in the year 1967 with more than 2 million copies sold, and it sold more than Monopoly that year.
Oh, wow. Okay. What was 1967? Was that...
It was during the Vietnam...
I was going to say Vietnam. Okay.
That was a good question.
Yeah.
Like I said, at this time it's seen as mostly positive, nothing dark. But obviously we know there was some twist that happened that made it made it be seen as this dark object that a lot of people don't even want to have in their homes.
Yep, negative connotation.
Yes, thank you. So, what changed it? The Exorcist.
Oh.
The movie The Exorcist. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, because I'm terrified. I've
seen
like a clip from it.
Okay. There's, the famous clips that go around. I haven't seen it. I'm not really a big fan of like old horror movies. I feel like they're super cheesy. I'm sorry. Like, I know that it's a classic, but I just can't get past it sometimes. Like,
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. It's funny because I'm the opposite. It's like when I told you about the Bloody Mary movie, even though that was like old at the time, I think then our friends were like laughing about it. It still freaked me out. So that's interesting that we're kind of like different, because I couldn't, even if it's cheesy, I wouldn't be able to watch it, to be honest. So.
Interesting. So The Exorcist came out in 1973. It was based on the book by William Peter Blatty. The book came out in 1971. Apparently, the book was actually based on a real life exorcism that happened. So at the time, the name floating around was Roland Doe, but that was not his real name. So we find out many years later. This news came out in 2020, so this is pretty recent.
Oh.
Roland Doe's real name was Ronald Hunkeler. And so the exorcism happened when he was 14 years old in 1949. And so since then, he passed away in 2020 at 85 years old. And it's really interesting. Apparently, he was actually a NASA engineer and contributed to Apollo space missions. He patented technology for space shuttle panels to handle extreme heat. So this is a very smart guy.
He turned around.
He lived his whole life so worried that people would find out the exorcism was based on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was really worried, especially like colleagues at NASA would find out and, I don't know, probably I'm sure there's a lot of scientists at NASA that don't believe in any of this stuff. So can you imagine they find this out about him and they're like, "Oh man, Roland's actually crazy."
Yeah, I can see him wanting to keep that under wraps for sure. Okay.
The story of what happened to him when he was 14 is that he started hearing like knocking and scratching on his bedroom walls. And then it was reported that like if he would sit in a chair or he would lay in the bed, like those things would move even though he was on them. One time, like a chair even threw him off of it. And apparently, like when he would go by this picture of Christ on the wall, the picture would shake. And there was a Jesuit priest named William Bodern, and he conducted more than 20 exorcism rituals on Ronald in 3 months. But it like wasn't working, and so then he moved to St. Louis, but the demon followed him. And it got so bad as like the demon apparently scratched onto his like ribs and other body parts, different words, like it kind of knew his plans to move. So like it wrote Lewis and Saturday in 3.5 weeks to like show that this demon like knew his plans.
And he's like, I'm coming with you. Okay.
Yeah. And then Roland, whatever you want to say, was eventually admitted to the hospital. And he basically would just like have violent tantrums. He would voice Latin phrases. And eventually Jesuit priests cast the demon out.
Okay. So finally somebody was able to exorcise him, I guess.
And he obviously moved on to live a very successful life.
Yeah, NASA. All right. Interesting.
So the movie version, there's a 12-year-old girl named Reagan, and she's possessed after playing with a Ouija board. And apparently this was the second highest grossing horror film of all time.
Really? Okay.
I think it was behind The Shining.
Oh, okay. Nothing recent has capped it, I guess.
Let me Google it really quick just to make sure. It in 2017 might have surpassed it. Hold on, I'm trying to figure this out.
I can't watch that one either.
Really? That one is pretty creepy, actually. Yeah. Okay. So the 2017 version, was the highest grossing, and actually, Chapter 2 in 2019 is now the second place, but The Exorcist still holds the third.
Okay. Wow. Still stands, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So obviously, something this successful is going to impact our society and culture. Before the movie came out, any TV depictions of Ouija boards were kind of seen as silly, or like spiritualism in general was just kind of like silly depictions, not really seen like too big of a deal. But after The Exorcist, like more TV and movie depictions showed the Ouija board as like the tool of the devil, and it was shown as evil. You would think that this affected sales for the board, but it didn't really affect it all that much. Like they went down a little bit, but yeah, it was more like the cultural view of it is what changed. So now it's owned by Hasbro, and there's a million different versions of it that you'll see at the store, like all the different branded versions. I saw a Stranger Things version, just like different TV shows and movies and stuff. It comes in all colors and variations. You can get whatever merch you can possibly think of with a Ouija board on it. Like if you want to get underwear or an umbrella or, literally anything.
Yeah.
Get Ouija board version.
So like the connotation has, I was going to say that too. It doesn't feel like it has the same connotation today as it did even back when we were kids playing with it. Would you say?
I think it's probably more mild, but like the church is still definitely against it. And I'm going to read like this quote in just a moment that'll kind of get to that. But just my personal opinion, I would say that as a whole, our culture, it's a lot less Christian than it used to be. Mm-hmm. And so in my opinion, it's probably for that reason not seen as an evil thing as much anymore. But I think in certain circles, it's still going to be seen very much as an evil thing that you shouldn't play with.
Probably, yeah, totally. And I think that it makes sense that not only it being in The Exorcist, but also around the time, that the connotation changed to being negative had to do with, I'm sure, like the satanic panic.
Oh, yes. Time. I would love to talk about that in an episode.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. So it's kind of even just back to some of the things that we've talked about, like the things in society and how just the timing of it. Like even the Morgan
Exactly.
Spurlock thing is like, it's like timing that it may be different if one little thing in society was different or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I think like the show I already kind of brought up Stranger Things, but I think Stranger Things does a good job of like showing like a bit of the satanic panic
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they definitely do.
ideology. Um,
Yep.
anyways, so like I said, I was going to tell you what the Catholic Church thinks of the Ouija board. Actually, I figured maybe you could read this.
Okay.
This is a quote from Catholic.com, and it's like a question and an answer. So let me just read the question. That's the first little part here. And it says, a friend of mine has used a Ouija board on several occasions. I have advised him against using it, but he insists it is used just for fun and that it is harmless. Is this true?
All right. The answer is no. The Ouija board is far from harmless, as it is a form of divination, which seeking information from supernatural sources. The fact of the matter is, the Ouija board really does work, and the only spirits, quote, that will be contacted through it are evil ones. Okay. The Lord repeatedly condemns any and all occultic practices, including divination. While many Bible passages could be cited, the following one is typical of his view of occultic practices. Quote, let no one be found among you who sacrifices his son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist, or who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely still seen as a no-go for many people.
Even today, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like another thing that's just kind of happens in culture occasionally that I think still impacts the view of Ouija boards for people is that every once in a while there will be a murder tied to a Ouija board where basically somebody will blame the Ouija board for telling them to kill somebody. And there was
Oh,
like quite a few examples of this that you can find online, but I didn't really feel like delving into any of them specifically.
yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
So like once sales go down, no, I'm just kidding. Something comes into the media.
Yeah.
So, okay, so it's more so like the person who did the murdering says it's because of this. It's not.
Yeah, like they'll basically say I was possessed by the Ouija board, or they'll say like the Ouija board told them to do it, and so they did it. I don't know.
Okay.
So obviously that's gonna impact some people's view of the Ouija
Yeah.
board. Some
Right.
people are gonna take that very seriously. I just take it as you are looking for a way out, or you need help. I don't know.
Yep. Agreed.
So lastly, and what I was very curious about as well, is just like how do they work? So like you mentioned right away in the beginning, it's like you kind of believe in it at some points because it's like, I know I'm not moving it. So who here is moving it? We're all saying that we're not moving it. I trust these people. So how is that even happening? It must be a spirit, obviously. And so in 1853, which is, going way back, the idea of like these table turning parties and the rapping that we mentioned was already like under scrutiny for certain scientists. And so in 1853, there was a scientist named Michael Faraday. He was an English physicist who was famous for his electromagnetism experiments.
Okay.
So he believed that the force behind like all of these different channeling spirit seances, automatic writing, he believed it was all due to the ideomotor response.
Oh,
Do you know about this?
no. What does
I was
that mean?
kind of wondering if you know just because you're a psychology minor.
That was a long time
I know.
ago. No. Yeah, no. No, even if I did, I would be like, hey, remind me because
No, I know.
my memory is not good. Okay.
It's the subconscious desires that are making your muscles move for you. And I thought a good a good example of this was they say like you don't really control when you cry, right? Like you see a sad movie, your subconscious starts your physical reaction of crying and tears coming out of your eyes. So
Okay.
basically saying that like you're not necessarily in control of your body at all times. and your subconscious does a lot more work for your body than what you probably realize, right?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. That makes sense.
And they're saying like you only need a really small muscular movement to move the planchette on the board. It might not feel like you're doing anything, but this is just such a minor movement for your body to do. Glide a planchette across a board, especially because the planchette itself is very lightweight. The ones now have like felt feet so that they can glide across the board really easily.
Oh, okay.
The idiomotor response is just like very powerful. A lot of scientists have done experiments on this, and like your subconscious is just a lot more powerful than you think. And then when you have like a group of people together, it amplifies it even more.
Yeah, more variables too. And so that's why like if when you say is there somebody that likes me and it spells out one
It spells out like somebody that you know. Is that what you're saying?
like the person that you wanted to like
Oh,
you,
yeah.
then like and I'm sure your friends know who yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
that's
So
interesting.
just to complete your thought, like your friends
Yeah, I'm
know.
sorry.
I'm just trying to help you out.
I know. I can't finish the sentence. Okay.
So basically, like what you're saying is like your friends are also going to know like who you're crushing on, and so they're going to possibly push it to the correct letters as well.
Yeah, or yeah, whether it's you or them or a mix of everyone.
Right. There's another experiment that was done in 2012 by Ronald Rensink, Helene Gochow, and Sydney Fells. I'm so sorry if I butchered any of those names. But they became pretty curious about the Ouija board and like how it works. So they designed an experiment. This experiment, I'm going to explain how it worked, but I'm going to say I don't fully understand it and I'm not fully convinced of their like results or their interpretation of the results.
Okay.
But I just thought it was important. Okay. So the initial experiments involved a Ouija playing robot. Participants were told that they were playing with a person in another room via teleconferencing. The robot, they were told, mimicked the movements of the other person. In reality, the robot's movements simply amplified the participant's motions, and the person in the other room was just a ruse, a way to get the participant to think they weren't in control. Participants were asked a series of yes or no fact-based questions, such as, is Buenos Aires the capital of Brazil? Or were the 2000 Summer Olympics held in Sydney? And then expected to use the Ouija board to answer. What the team found surprised them. When participants didn't know the answers but hazarded a guess without using the Ouija board, they were right only about 50% of the time, a typical result for guessing. But when they guessed using the Ouija board, believing that the answers were coming from someplace else, they answered correctly upwards of 65% of the time. And then in quotes, it was so dramatic how much better they did on these questions than if they answered to the best of their ability that we were like, this is just weird. How could they be that much better, says Fells. It was so dramatic we couldn't believe it. The implication was that one's non-conscious was a lot smarter than anyone knew. Yeah, so what do you think of that?
It calls back to correlation is not causation, is
Yeah.
my thought. Like in some sense, there's sort of that in this, and that just because it happened that way, yeah, there could be so many other variables. It doesn't mean that that's the cause of it. But do I believe in like what is it, idiomotor
Response?
response?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree
So,
with you. The idiomotor
yeah.
response, I definitely agree with. I think that it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. This experiment made me feel almost like it is spiritual. Like I feel like they took away from it that somehow their subconscious is what's giving them the answers. But I took away from it that like maybe the board is helping them. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't understand how they. And again, I'm not saying that I believe in the Ouija board, but I feel like their interpretation of the results that they got doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't understand how they went, this means that it's absolutely not a spirit helping them. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
if they're just basing it on the fact that they got more answers right, like, why would they? I don't know the answers to these questions. I don't think my subconscious knows it either. I don't know. I don't understand their interpretation.
Yeah. So are you saying that like what they interpreted was a stretch or was not a stretch? Or not even that. Maybe I'm just trying to like. I'm trying
it's more of just like I don't understand. Because basically they're saying like they got more questions right when they used the board.
Yep.
And they're saying that means that it's false, like that it's not a spirit attached to the board. They're saying, oh, that proves that their subconscious is helping them get these answers. But that doesn't make any sense to me. How are they proving that was their subconscious? Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay. I see what you're saying now. Yeah. How is that measurable?
Yeah, to me, I would feel like that proves that the Ouija board does have a spirit helping them get the answers correct.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the conclusion, yeah. Okay. I know what you mean.
So basically, here's like a little bit more detail of what these scientists took away from this. It says these experiments show that the Ouija could be a very useful tool in rigorously investigating non-conscious thought process. Now that we have some hypothesis in terms of what's going on here, accessing knowledge and cognitive abilities that you don't have conscious awareness of, the Ouija board would be an instrument to actually get at that, Fells explains. Now we can start using it to ask other types of questions. Those types of questions include how much and what the non-conscious mind knows, how fast it can learn, how it remembers, and even how it amuses itself. This opens up even more avenues of exploration. For example, are the conscious and unconscious parts of the mind affected differently by neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's? If unconscious thoughts were affected earlier, Rensink hypothesizes indications of the illness could show up in Ouija manipulation, possibly even before being detected in conscious cognitive processes.
The brain has its own brain that we don't brain about.
So I think that this is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't quite make sense in terms of like proving whether or not the Ouija board works, but their hypothesis that they're creating here about just like how much the subconscious knows that we're not able to access on a daily, regular basis while we're awake.
Yeah.
I think that is really interesting. And I feel like this was in 2012. Like, where has more research been on this? Because I'm curious about this. I want to know about this.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I also think like it also makes me think of, to your point of like when you're awake, like dreams always feel
so real.
Random.
Oh,
real
random,
and random. I'm like, I haven't thought about so and so and like not in recent times or like kind of
true.
Granted, that's more just like I think a lot of it is memories, but there's stuff that comes up at least in my dreams that are like I never thought of that in my life. Like what are hey brain,
what are you doing here?
What are you doing? What are you picking up on that I'm not picking up on? I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense? Like I can
Absolutely.
see a little bit of.
I think that the subconscious is extremely powerful and interesting.
Yes.
And even just kind of going back again to like what we've talked about previously, where it's like humans communicate on a subconscious level too, and that we are not fully aware of. So like I think their theory could be true. Like with the Ouija board, I'm not necessarily thinking or saying that like they're wrong. I just don't understand how they got there.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I can see what you're saying.
And I just think that this idea is really interesting that they have about it. Like even diagnosing like Alzheimer's, that's super interesting.
Yeah. No, agreed. And
this is what I mean. Like I was so interested learning all of this.
yeah.
I was up super late last night. Like you said, you were last week with your research. I was up late last night getting into all of this. And I was like, well, I got to include this part and I got to include this part. And like, oh, what's this talking about here? I need to research that now. And just like even learning about like the spiritualist movement, like that's not something I really knew about before. And now I feel like I know that. It's really interesting. So yeah, all that being said, do you feel like you would be like more or less likely to use a Ouija board now? Like, do you feel less or more scared of them? Do you feel any differently?
I still feel there's so much of me that is like contradictory because there is a lot of me that like that there is a lot of me that wants to believe and be like, because I've said, you know, for me, I do believe in ghosts and like, so sure, that could be possible, but also like logically, there's that side of me too sometimes. So I'm not scared of it. I think it can be fun. Like, I don't think that people should relate it to the devil or like have a negative connotation to it. It's like, it's not harming anyone. People believe that it has, yeah, exactly. But like, if it's not harming and it's just like something fun and interesting to do, like, go for it. I don't know. I don't think that
just follow the rules, be safe with it.
Yeah, I would probably do that to be...
In the sources, there's going to be a wiki how on how to play the Ouija board safely, so...
Perfect.
There you go.
Awesome. All right.
Just look that up.
So I think I would, like, take it cautiously if I were to play it again, because, like, there is part of me that believes in it, and I would do all those things, because it's, like, better safe than sorry, you know, if this is real or it's not, you know? What about you?
I think that's kind of, like... I think that's kind of, like... a good summation of how I feel about like a lot of ghosty type things where it's just kind of like I don't really believe in it, but just to be safe, you know, let's be safe with it. I think I would probably mess with one again. I don't really want to own one.
Okay. You don't want to have one in your home?
Yeah, I don't want to have one in my home. Like again, just to be safe, you know?
Yeah.
I don't need it in here. I don't need Leon messing with it. It's fine.
But if I bust one out next time you come and visit my house, then you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, let's try it. Why not? Let's see what happens. Let's see what our subconscious is thinking about.
I'll just sage afterward as well. So we'll just cover, we'll do it the right way, and
we'll let you know what happens in the next podcast episode.
Next one, we're like possessed.
That's what I was just going to say. Next one, we're doing an exorcism.
Yeah.
This week
is about exorcisms because Karen has lost her mind. And even though...
Oh, man. That would be great. But yeah, that's all I got about Ouija boards.
That was so interesting. I really liked learning the history of it. I like that it's changed over time too.
Yeah.
And I think I like, even though there are, you know, like the Catholic Church still says like they are not something to use, which is fine if that's what you believe. I think it's just like, it's mostly fun.
Yeah.
And it may be, and I also like kind of don't want to know if like one of my friends did move it. Like I was thinking, I'm like, do we ask our
like it's
friends,
just kind of fun to believe in it in a way.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And like I was, for a minute there, I was like, oh, I wonder if we asked so-and-so if they ever did move it, what they would say. Because during the time we were kids and they all said no, like we all said no. And even if they all say no, again, they could be a lot of different things, you know, at play there.
Yeah, everyone's kind of moving it a little bit subconsciously is what we learned today.
Yes.
I was, I think, most shocked by how, like, relatively new of an item it is. Like, obviously, it's been around for a couple hundred years, but I almost thought it would be, like, you know, from the 1600s or something. Like, I thought it was going to be really old.
Well, I bet you there were probably like variations.
Something similar, yeah.
Yeah, like it didn't have that same name. Obviously, they capitalized on it to make a board and people could buy and all of that. But I'm sure that there were other cultures, or you know, you talked about the
automatic writing. I think automatic writing has probably existed in many cultures in different shapes and forms.
Right.
But it's more so specifically the idea of the planchette and the talking board that were put together to create the Ouija board.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if that was, or just like some version of it.
Yeah.
That was a little bit closer to what it is today. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That is true. Yeah. Relatively new. Mm-hmm. That was really interesting, though. I'm really glad you did that.
It was interesting to learn about.
Yeah.
I actually was going to say, and I forgot to mention this, but I feel like most of my episodes so far, like, they've all been very genuine, like hyperfixations in some way or another, like that I've personally done a lot of research on before, or, you know, were part of my life somehow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have like a little bit of story with the Ouija board, but it's not like I went to a seance once a week, you know what I mean? And got really into practicing Ouija, and I know all, you know what I mean? It was more so just like, I guess the hyperfixation for me has to be just the idea of like spooky things in general. And I just, when I thought of it, I was like, I kind of want to know more about that. Yeah. And so it just kind of was a hyperfixation for me as I was learning about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's my topic so far as well is I know a certain amount, or I think I know a certain amount, but like when I'm starting to be like, what do I want to talk about, whether it's spooky or not, it's like, what is something that I also want, like I'm genuinely curious about to learn more. And that's what I like about this is like, it's at least for me, I feel like, you know, it's forcing me to set aside time for that stuff more, where I wouldn't be doing this obviously.
Otherwise,
yeah, even if I want to, it's just, it gives you more of like a, well, actually, I've been meaning to, you know, think about
like
this.
I'm not going to sit around and find 10 different articles about the history of a Ouija board on my, you know, Sunday night normally.
Yeah, exactly. But
I was like, man, Google's probably wondering what the hell I am doing. I'm asking really weird questions.
I know. I've been thinking about that a little bit too, but we have proof here. We have proof that it's
that
for
we're doing
research
something.
for this. Yeah. Just actually, officer, please check out our Spotify.
Yeah.
You'll see that my story is correct.
So just to wrap it up really quick, everybody that's listening, make sure that you know, like, comment, subscribe. We're, you know, on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Notice that we've been getting some followers on YouTube, which is cool. And then we also have an Instagram and a TikTok. So definitely make sure to check us out there. Tell your friends about us and make sure you leave comments, you know, wherever you're listening. Did you ever play with a Ouija board? Did anything like really spooky ever happen to you? I would love to know. Or do you just find them too scary and you've never done it? Let us know.
Yep.
Anyways, that was fun. And that's it for this week's rabbit hole. Next week, honestly, even we don't know where we'll end up. But tell us what you're hyperfixated on. Drop it in the comments as well. And maybe your obsession will make it into a future episode. But until then, embrace the spiral, stay curious, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.